Every headline you see is a smokescreen distracting from the atrocities you heard about yesterday. You are being gaslit by a system designed to keep you blind. Welcome to Political Malpractice. Open your eyes, see the frauds behind the curtain, dismantle the illusion.
Welcome back to Political Malpractice. It is I, Sasha, your hostess with the mostest, back with our wonderful Sunday co-host, Lela. Remember, guys, she is at _ Lela Alice _ on Threads and Instagram, right? All
It's
right.
me.
And I am at that lib law student on pretty much any social media except for Twitter on my personal. So Political Malpractice is on Twitter, but I'm not because I just don't like it. I haven't liked it for quite a while. All right. We had an international focused agenda for this week that got utterly upended with all of the drama that has now hit the California governor race. So we kind of chucked that. Chris and I will cover a lot of stuff on Wednesday for the international front. Since both Lela and I live in California, we wanted to cover the California drama. So Lela is your good voter. She knows already all about all the politicians. I'm your bad voter. I was tossed between Swalwell and Porter. And then all this drama came down about Swalwell, and I was just like, oh, shit. Not necessarily sure I want to go for Porter after she flipped her shit on TV and basically gave grounds to every ridiculous argument that any man has ever made about a woman in politics. Like, thanks for doing, the female movement wrong there, Katie. I'm up shit creek without a paddle here. So let's talk.
I'm here to help.
Let's talk first about a jungle primary. I think this is probably the first voting year that I've ever heard of that. Granted, I am more politically active now than I've ever been. So, of course, it's normal that this would be the first time I've heard of it. My understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, in California's jungle primary, it's kind of an open for everybody, every political party. You throw your hat in the ring. So we have a shit ton of candidates initially, right?
Yes. So basically what happens with the jungle primary is it means that all the candidates, regardless of the party, get to run, and then the top two highest vote getters get to advance to the general election. So that means, and this is important, that means that you can end up with two candidates from the same party in the general election. Okay, so you could have two Republicans or you could have two Democrats. And
Right.
that is what everyone needs to understand right now. I think a lot of people aren't clicking with that. They think that the highest polling candidate from each party is going to get in there. No. It could be that the highest polling candidate is from the Republican Party, which is unfortunately what it's looking like right now. I hope it doesn't pan out that way. But right now, the two highest polling candidates are the two Republican candidates, Chad Bianco and Steve Hilton. So
Right.
we really need to make sure that we start rallying around a Democratic candidate, of which right now there's way too many in the field, to try to get their numbers up and make sure that we get out and vote for one of those Democratic candidates and don't split that vote amongst, all the candidates there. So that's why it's really important to make sure that we get that vote and rally around one particular candidate rather than a bunch of them.
So I just hit Google to see if California's ever had two Democrats or two independents on a ticket, and Google's got nothing for me. Do you know offhand if we
Okay.
have?
I don't know offhand. I'm not sure, but I don't think we've had a year where we've had this many people in the field either. Um, I'd have to go back and do some research on that, but I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah, not even Google AI is able to give me an answer. Hold on.
Weird. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It just gives me top results. And it's all talking about this run right now. So I don't think California's ever had
Well,
a
hopefully we don't
situation like
start
what we have
now.
right now.
Oh, let me see. Yeah, no, I don't think that we have either, actually.
Yeah,
No, we have not. We have not.
that is a bit scary.
It got close in 2018. Got close in 2018, but we have not had this happen yet. So, um that's what makes this year interesting. It looks like this is the year that we've had the most crowded Democratic field. So,
It I'm a little pissy about this. I mean, I understand the benefit of a jungle primary, right? It opens the field for independents, for libertarians, for the Green Party, for
mhm.
all of these smaller political groups. It gives them a real chance, right? Even though California is super democratic, like California is basically all blue, it gives other people a footing. If someone can get their message out there and it sounds good, you don't have to be blue or red, you know? Um, Off the top of my head, I don't think we've ever had like anyone from the Independent Party or Libertarian Party or Green, whatever the heck. I don't think we've ever had them on the ticket either. Um, but this is pissing me off. Right now, we've got what, 10 Democratic candidates running?
There's quite a few. Yeah, there's quite a few.
It, I understand that we want a good slice of the pie, right? I'm tired of white men. I'm fucking sick of white men in office, period. You know? Um, I'm tired of California because we have Hollywood always picking pretty. Gavin Newsom, pretty. Arnold Schwarzenegger, movie star. Not pretty, but you
Mhm.
know what I mean? Um, Ronald Reagan, movie star. Stop fucking picking pretty. I mean,
Yeah.
Newsom hasn't been awful that I can think of.
No, he's
That
done
I
some
can think
things
of.
that I'm not a fan of, but I mean, every politician does. But on the overall, Newsom has not been a bad governor. I mean, there's some of the homelessness stuff he's
Right.
been, callous about. He's made some poor choices, but on the overall, he's not been. I don't have a
It
lot to criticize.
I think the callousness has been more to appease the right. He's gearing up for a presidential run.
And that is his worst flaw though to me
Right.
is that lane splitting that he does, that it's very
Yeah.
greasy politician. And
Yep.
I'm not a fan of it. Like, why do you have Ben Shapiro on your podcast? Why are you catering to these far right
Right.
activists basically and sitting down and breaking bread with them? Like, you're not going to win people over by doing that. They're not going to come on your side, and you're just going
Right.
to alienate people that are on your side.
Right.
It's that kind of stuff doesn't work. I mean, I
I,
appreciate his social media team, but that's about as far as he goes. If
right.
he winds up on the presidential ticket and it's him and a Republican, of course I will vote for him, but I would not want to do it a moment before.
It I don't think I would vote for him in the primaries,
No,
right?
no, no, not a chance
I
in hell.
I want to see someone else, Andy Bashar is looking really fucking good. There's
I
some
like Wes
rumor.
Moore a lot. I like Wes Moore.
I haven't
I
looked
think
into
he's
Westmore.
interesting.
I heard Andy Bashar, and because he's from the Bible Belt, because his family is super Jesus, I was like, oh, fuck me. Who is this guy? Are we going to try and get an evangelical Democrat so that we can
It's
woo the
James
evangelical
Tallarico of it
MAGAs.
all.
Oh,
Yeah,
Jesus. So
I'm not into that.
I looked into him and I read this whole piece that he did. And guys, we're going to get to California here in a minute, okay? But Andy Bashar shocked me in this massive piece that he wrote. He First off, he comes from a political family, although he is the lone Democrat in his family. His family is heavy Republicans. And I was like, oh, all right, you're a black sheep. I'm a black sheep. Let's see what that means. He himself is very religious, and he acknowledges that there is a growing lack of religious group. I don't want to say anti-religious, I'm not anti-religious. I'm, whatever the fuck floats your boat. You want to pray to a spaghetti monster? I don't give a shit. But don't
I'm
tell
pro
me I
keeping your
should.
religion away from me. That's what I
Yeah.
am. I'm pro
Keep-
you having your religion and keeping it away from me. Yeah.
Religion is like your wee-wee. Keep it in your fucking pants.
Yeah. That's a great way to describe it. I love that you have it. I love that you have it. But
I love that for you.
Keep it away from me.
Yep. I love that for you. I want nothing to fucking do with it.
Yes.
He explained that, he understands that this group of just get me away from religion is growing in America. And he knows that when he's with those people, it's rude to, oh, thank God, let's pray to Jesus to keep our country safe. Why? These people aren't going to pray to Jesus. They want to know what the fuck Andy Bashar is going to do to keep America safe,
Yeah.
So he understands that yes, in my house, I pray, let's keep America safe. These people don't do that. They want to know what I'm going to do, So I was like, I kind of like this guy. So we'll see what happens there. But if it's between Bashar or Newsom on a presidential primary, Bashar all the way.
Yeah. No, I would vote for almost any Dem over Newsom. I'm sorry. He's done a lot of things that would lose me as a voter. And again, I will reinforce, he has not done a bad job governing the state of California. Right. In fact, our economy is soaring. He's done a lot of great things here, but there are just so many red flags with him that I unfortunately cannot ignore. And I think that's, it's a testament though to how Democrat voters don't just worship their politicians, right? I mean, it's an important inflection point.
He's done great here. I don't trust him on a national scale.
And that's what not as far as I can throw him. Yeah.
No. I just
he waffles on too many things.
Yes.
Even with his most recent walk back of his Israel as an apartheid state, and then going right out in the media and be like, "Oh, that's not what I meant."
Right.
It's just just every single thing you think he's going to go and do something, and then he realizes he's get some blowback and then walks it all back. He doesn't have enough of a spine for me as a politician. Like, if you don't stand for something, you fall for everything. I don't trust you. It's just that's my problem with him, and it's always going to be my problem with him.
Yeah, and that's how I viewed the greater majority of presidential candidates. How are you at sticking to your guns? Because there is going to come a time that you are going to have a Congress that doesn't agree with you. So are you going to cave to Congress, or are you going to hold to your campaign promises? Or are you going to pull a Trump and just make everything nihilistic and about you and you're the greatest in the world? So let's get to California.
California. Yeah. So speaking of the highest polling candidates that could move forward in a jungle primary, let's talk about those, because those two guys are Republicans. So starting with Chad Bianco, right? So he's currently the sheriff of Riverside County. So
Mm-hmm.
he's very Republican. He is an open Trump supporter. And the funny thing about Chad Bianco is that he's running as a law and order candidate, super strong focus on crime, super strong focus on public safety. But the best thing about this is that, like I said, he's the sheriff of Riverside County. Crime has never been higher in Riverside County.
So
So what does that tell you? Like, you're running on a tough on crime platform, but your own jurisdiction can't even hold up to that
well,
record? Like, all
let's not
right.
let's not even touch that. Let's not even touch the fact that he can't solve crime in Riverside.
Yeah.
They have a 9.2% solvability rating. What the fuck? Tough on crime? What are you doing?
Yeah.
Committing the crimes?
Yeah. Oh, wait.
He
He is a
We'll get there.
Republican.
We'll get there. Because that's the one thing I dug into was this
Yeah.
whole fraudulent seizure of the California voting ballots, right?
Oh, yeah.
We'll
He
get
was
there.
a part of that.
We'll get there because that I dug deep for.
They shot him down, though, I believe. They shot him down for that. They said he couldn't do that.
He's already grabbed. I want to say his first grab was like 650 and the last grab was 920,
Yeah.
something like that. But they have
Yep.
stopped him. But hold on. We're going to pause because that's still one level deeper than we need to get on Bianco first. He is a self-proclaimed MAGA sheriff
Oh, yeah.
who claims to be tough on crime. Our president is a pedophile rapist who is a convicted fucking felon. I don't know how tough on crime means supporting a felon for president.
But, you know, the funny thing is that a lot of police officers support Trump, which makes me really confused because how are you supporting a guy who has 34 felony counts? Like, where
Yep.
is the cognitive dissonance here? Where is the disconnect? Like, how can you be enforcing crime while supporting someone who does crime?
Because
Hello?
they're not, and I'm going to blanket every cop with this. Because until you're a cop who I see on national news calling out your dirty uniformed brethren, you're all bad. Until I see you calling everyone out, you're bad. Complacency is guilt, period. And that's what the law says. That's not Sasha's democratic, holier than thou, righteous take on this bullshit, right? Conspiracy law holds that complacency in the conspiracy is guilt in the conspiracy. So if you're a cop who's just trying to keep your head down while, you know, your partner or your partner's partner's partner is doing something wrong, guess who's going to get swept up in a conspiracy sting? You are.
Yeah.
Because
exactly.
you did nothing about it and you have a duty to do something about it. So this is all cops, right? When a cop says, I'm voting for this person because they're pro-crime or they're tough on crime or whatever, pro-law and order, they're not pro-law and order. You're voting for them because they are pro-cop. Let's not hold cops accountable. Let's not hold cops responsible for doing dirty things. Let's give cops more immunity for their actions. That's what they mean when they say law and order. I'm pro law and order means I'm pro letting cops off the hook. And why is Chad Bianco pro letting cops off the hook? Because he's a quote former, right? Very strong, heavy, bolded, size 32 font quote on the former Oathkeeper. The Oathkeepers are an far-right anti-government organization that is known to be violent. And he was a member of this, but he's pro-law and order. He belongs to an anti-government organization. He's going to run for a government seat on a pro-law and order ticket? Tell me that you're stupid without telling me. If you honestly believe his bullshit, tell me you're stupid without telling me. It makes more sense. It makes more sense, and you look less of an idiot to just say, I'm a racist asshole, so I'm going to vote for Bianco.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well,
That's the fucking truth.
that's how I feel about most people who vote Republican these days, though. So I can't. I mean, I hate to say
Lately,
that, but
yes.
yeah, yeah.
Lately,
It
yes.
didn't used to be that
No.
way, but like, I mean, I didn't feel that way before 2016, but I certainly do now.
Right.
I mean,
it at least back when I was in junior high, which means you were what, in fucking elementary school,
oh,
Republicans were what they were. They were, conservative
yeah,
spending, let's take the big government down. Federal government needs to be small. And that's what they stuck to,
yeah.
right? Since Trump has entered the scene, and it's increased every year since then. They are full of contradictions. It is just
Hmm.
easier, and you look less gullible, you look less stupid if you just admit, I am a racist asshole. That's why I'm voting for this person. Or I'm a misogynistic asshole. I'm a homophobic asshole. That's why I'm going to vote for this person.
Oh, yeah.
I'll
Much simpler,
respect that more.
easier.
It's the
Yeah.
truth. I'll respect it. I'll take that. So, Chad Bianco, I was digging into this whole ballot bullshit, right? He got a warrant based on statements from a voting rights group, right? Again, size 32 font quotes. When you get a warrant, the constitutional rules for a warrant is that a warrant will be issued by a neutral and detached magistrate on a showing of probable cause. Probable cause is found where there's reasonably trustworthy facts that a crime has been committed or evidence exists in a specific location. That's it. That is the court's ruling on the Constitution. That's what it takes to get a warrant. Let's start at the top. A neutral and detached magistrate. The judge that signed this warrant for Bianco was also endorsed by Bianco when the judge was running for his position on the bench. You're not a detached magistrate.
No.
You are absolutely not a detached magistrate.
Ugh.
There is a quid pro quo. I guarantee you that if somebody makes a complaint to the California bar that that judge violated judicial canon, he will be found guilty of that.
I wonder why no one has yet.
Because the brotherhood protects the brotherhood.
Yeah.
The same reason why it took this long for anybody to make any kind of a bar complaint against Pam Bondi.
Yeah.
You don't want to get in trouble the judge that might be presiding over a case that you have, right?
Hmm.
So someone of some standing, because you or I could make the complaint to the bar. The bar's not going to bat an eye if you and I do it. Who the fuck are we?
Yeah.
So somebody with some standing needs to make a complaint to the bar about this judge. Judges have rules, and they are not supposed to do anything that brings question to the legitimacy of their decisions. This brings absolute question to the legitimacy of your decision. You signed a questionable warrant based on some pro-Republican, anti-Democrat voting rights group who, based on a lot of articles that I found, called them the equivalent of flat earthers, basically. Them just saying the numbers are off, the numbers don't count, there's voter fraud. So he gets this warrant signed, he goes in and he seizes ballots. Sheriffs haven't seized ballots. We haven't had ballot seizures until this year. We had Tulsi Gabbard down in Georgia. We've got Bianco here in California. He's fucking dirty. But
Oh, yeah.
let's take all that aside. California has a massive budget that could do with some fixing. We could do with a lot of fixing. We've got a shit ton of money. We're the fourth highest GDP in the world. We should have a very solid ballot that provides very solid social protections for its citizens. He's
Hmm.
24% over budget for the
Yeah.
sheriff's department. Republicans, you're supposed to be fiscally conservative. He is 24% over budget. How are you squaring that? He has the highest deaths in the jails in his counties. You want him to be in charge of the states? He's going to do away with sanctuary status. That means more ICE activity in California. That means California is going to become worse than they were up in, what was it, Michigan?
Don't tell
Massachusetts?
them that. They want that. So that's a Republican talking point.
They
That's their
want
wet
more.
dream right there.
They want more ICE, but what they're not understanding is that ICE routinely arrests U.S. citizens.
Yeah, but they don't care
More
about that.
Californians are
They
going to get
want more
arrested.
ICE.
More Californians are going to get arrested. We're going to have higher death counts in ICE detention. If he can't keep people alive in a California fucking prison, he's not going to be able to keep people alive in ICE detention centers. You're going to see more U.S. citizens, California citizens, swept up in these raids, and we're going to see more Californian U.S. citizen deaths in California. If you vote for Chad Bianco, you're voting to crush California. Goodbye, everything. Let's move on to Steve Hilton, because he's our other Republican.
Yes. And he's the highest profile one at this point, I believe. He got the nomination from Trump or the endorsement, whatever. So he was a Fox Media pundit, basically. He also was a policy advisor to the UK Prime Minister. He's running on, this is funny, a cost of living platform, which, I mean, Donald Trump has raised the cost of living, so I'm not so sure how the Republican policies are really going to fare with that. But, I guess, whatever little Delulu land that they live in, they can continue living there. And he thinks he's going to be able to fix California on this Donald Trump plan, right? So the Republicans like him because he has the Donald Trump endorsement and that whole, talking point that he's been using that Trump gave him. So there's that. I think that he's got a higher polling than Bianco has at this point as a result of all that. So I think he's the front runner in all this at this moment. He seems to be a little bit more even-tempered than Bianco does. A little bit better of a speaker, obviously, from all that Fox News training they give their hosts. So yeah, those are our top two right now, Bianco and Hilton.
So I took a look at Steve Hilton's candidate page, campaign page, whatever. I didn't get any further than his family first, right?
Yeah.
Because of course that's his platform. All Republicans run on a family first platform. And then we find out that he's had multiple affairs. He's had multiple, baby mamas get an abortion before she can blow up the news, right?
Yeah.
Before she can rape him for child support costs. A family first agenda going through him, especially, massive, massive dog whistles for homophobes, for transphobes, right? That's who he's calling with this family first bullshit. Massive dog whistle for abusive men. He says that he will identify and remove ways in which government undermines family formation and stability by auditing welfare programs. I have a handful of divorces under my belt. Never been a welfare recipient. What I have been is a victim of domestic violence.
Yeah.
Right? Domestic welfare helps women who have been systematically, psychologically, emotionally, and physically abused by their husbands to keep them down. So they didn't go to college because their husband didn't want them to. They didn't maximize their career because that hurt hubby's feelings that she was making more money than him. Welfare helps these women get out. And then they usually get off. They use welfare to get away from their abusive husband. And then they're able to go to school, get an education, reignite their career, and take off. And now they're no longer relying on welfare. What this man wants is to roll back no fault divorce. He wants to keep women imprisoned in the home. He wants to tear apart the LGBTQ protections that we have in California. He's destructive. And I think now he does podcasts or something. That's what I had heard on the wind on social media.
I mean, that would make sense. All of these Republican bros have a podcast, you know?
I mean, we do too,
I guess
clearly.
we're talking about one,
But
but more Democrats need to have a podcast. You know, more of us need to counter their talking points, you know? I mean,
absolutely.
it's all this toxic masculinity nonsense that they're out there parroting. And like you said, all this, you know, not that family first is a bad thing if it's talked about in the right light, you
Right.
know? I mean, everyone loves the family. I mean, that's a good thing to do. But I mean, the way that they are using these points is not for a positive thing. It's for
No.
control and all of that. So I don't think.
Let me
You
be
know,
clear. Another point on his campaign page is parents' rights. He wants to restore parents' rights. For our listeners, I want to be very fucking clear on this point. A parent has a constitutional right to raise their child the way that they see fit. It is why a lot of protections for transgender and queer youth that we've tried to put in place in schools has been knocked down by the Supreme Court, because parents have rights. They have rights to know what their kids are doing. They have rights to know what their kids are learning. They have rights to opt their children out from things that would otherwise influence them to not be an asshole in society. Parents have never lost their constitutional right to be a parent. So when a Republican says that they want to restore parental rights, they're hoodwinking you. They are actively bamboozling you, because parents have so many constitutional rights. It's not even fucking funny.
yeah.
You know, don't be fooled by these asshats. You know, it just doesn't square. It really doesn't square the way that they are bringing it about.
He
They're doing
probably believes that teachers are performing trans surgeries too.
probably, and that there are legitimately, you know, some fucking litter boxes in some classroom somewhere, even though there never has
Yeah.
been. There never
Yeah.
has been. But they're
No.
afraid of the fucking boogeyman.
Nah, stuff that's not happening. It's just all fear mongering. That's
Right.
you know, it's just crazy. It's never mind. I could go down a rabbit hole on that. But
It
all right. Katie Porter. She is
Oy vey.
probably the front runner of the Dems right now. That Swalwell is. We'll talk about him later, but she has a history of being progressive, and she is. I'm not going to
Yeah,
knock her for that.
she is.
But my problem with Katie Porter is that she has some real vulnerabilities that need to be acknowledged. I mean,
Right.
she's had allegations that I think are more than allegations. I think that there are probably truths here because, again, when more than 3 people come out and talk about things, there's
Well,
probably a grain of truth to it. But she's been accused of being an extremely toxic person to her staff. And there were allegations that came out in, I think, 2022 and 2023 that then amplified in 2025. And a video came out that showed her berating a staffer. She later acknowledged it. She apologized for it, which good for her. But I mean, an apology doesn't excuse the behavior.
right.
And my concern with this kind of stuff is if you can behave like that when you think nobody's watching, how are you truly behind closed doors? I'm sure that was only like a fraction, of her behavior. And California is a really, really big state. It's the biggest state with a giant economy. And you have to have a level of diplomacy to be able to run a state like California. And if she does not have that, and that's not in her personality to be diplomatic and be accommodating
Right.
and be able to negotiate, then she's going to have a really hard time making California successful or keeping it successful. She also had, I don't know if you recall that interview incident where she flipped
Yeah.
out on the interviewer and she threatened to walk out, and that
Yep.
was a big thing. That, I mean, I got secondhand embarrassment just watching that, and I think that
Yep.
that kind of reiterates the point where if you can't even handle a hard interview, how are you going to run a state at this level? I mean, I think that those are really, really good questions that, would
Yeah.
raise concerns for me on her ability to govern. I mean, this isn't just any state. This is a really big, important state with a lot of volume
Yeah.
and a lot of international even contacts that you need to manage as governor. Um,
I love
so
I love Katie Porter in the House. Absolutely love
yeah,
her.
yeah,
She had a fire about her and her damn whiteboard.
yeah, that was funny. I liked that.
Yeah.
And I'm a woman. I think that, I can get that way. I can, kind of get, I hate to see you say it, but I can get bitchy. But I
Mhm.
think that what she's been doing, her pattern of behavior is a little bit beyond bitchy.
It
Um,
There is a big difference between knowing someone's lying to you, right? And walking them up and through that lie, getting them to say it, getting them to go through with that lie and commit to it, and then bam, slamming them with the truth. That is badass. Like
yeah.
if somebody wants to talk to Viktor Orban that way,
Yeah.
hands down, I am all for that. Walk them up on video to that damn lie, make them
Mhm.
commit to the thing, and then expose them. I'm all for
Mhm.
that. Katie Porter is going to become the embodiment of everything that misogynistic Republican men and even misogynistic Democrat men have said that about women and why we can't lead. Oh, she's emotional. She's going to start a war when she's on her period. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. It's a big problem.
Katie, you just set us back, girl. You
Yeah.
just set
Yeah.
us back because you can't control your temper, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. You have to have a level of measure. You have to think
Mhm.
before you speak. And this isn't just women, this is men too. I don't appreciate when men are reactionary. I don't appreciate it when it goes either
Well,
to either sex. The other thing that she did that really rubbed me the wrong way was, do you remember when she lost the Senate primary?
no.
And yeah, she lost the Senate primary and then she went on and said the race was rigged by billionaires. She was like, "Oh, it was rigged by billionaires," and everyone like got really upset about that. But it kind of reminded me of Trump a little bit, like when
Yeah,
like, I'm just not. I just don't think you need to really think before you speak because if you don't, you just get in trouble either emotionally or
right,
just it's just not. It's not a good trait to have as a politician, especially as you start moving up the ranks.
right. The more and more attention that you get, the more controlled you have to be. And if you don't have that control during an interview, what the fuck are you going to do when California is on fire for the umpteenth million time? Are you going
Yeah,
to yell at
scream
someone?
at a reporter.
Yeah,
Yeah,
are you going to yell at some mayor 500 miles away because NBC has a camera on you so you can yell at
yeah.
them through the NBC camera? I don't fucking think so.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I don't think it's gonna work out. I just I like her, but I don't think that yeah, she's got the right
Yeah.
level of diplomacy necessary for that position.
No. It In polls I have seen, it's either Katie Porter or Tom Steyer. He's the
Tom
billionaire guy,
Steyer,
right?
who
Steyer.
I think is a wolf in sheep's clothing. There's a lot of people trying to rally around him, but I would be really, really nervous about that. I mean, I have a rule of thumb, which is I don't trust billionaires. So, I
Right.
mean, and I understand that there's people that are on the flip side of that coin, which are like, oh, if you're a billionaire, you can't be bought because you have enough of your own money. Yeah, yeah, he checks off two of my things that I don't like, which is no billionaires and no people with their hands in for-profit prisons, and he's got both. So
Yeah.
he makes me very nervous. I mean, he's running on a progressive platform, which obviously I'm a member of the progressive left, so I super support that. But
Right.
again, I would be really concerned about the hedge fund stuff. He has invested in a lot of different industries. It's not just for-profit prisons, but he's got a lot of exposure on that end, and I'm not
Right.
into that. I don't like it. I want someone, if you're going to have that kind of wealth, then I would like to see that you have built your wealth through ethical and credible sources, not
Right.
through something like that. I think it raises a more philosophical and ethical question to me, and I'm not into it.
I
But
think
everyone has their own opinion.
I think I kind of, at this point, I liken billionaires who are self-funding their campaigns to politicians who are taking APAC money.
Hmm.
It's dirty money. You're not a
Yeah,
billionaire because you worked hard. That just doesn't fucking exist. You
exactly.
don't,
You make your money off the backs of somebody
yeah,
else.
you don't go,
Yeah.
you know, you're not a billionaire because you went to college and you invested something cool and this and this and this and that. If you happened to make billions from investing some or inventing something cool, it's because mommy and daddy had the money so that you could afford to invent a whole bunch of bad shit and then finally get to something cool and then just make more millions to add to mommy and daddy's millions.
Hmm.
It he gives me the heebie-jeebies. He really
Me too.
fucking does.
Me too. There's an aura I don't like. I see one of his
Yeah.
commercials and I just am like, ugh, ugh,
Yeah.
I don't like it.
He gives me the feeling he's a Bezos or a Musk who
Yeah.
has just managed to secure his mask a bit tighter.
Wolf in sheep's clothing. I'm going to tell
Yeah,
you, mark my words, if he gets elected, I guarantee you,
he
you're not going to
has the
like
better
it.
costume.
He
Now,
does.
looking at the list that you sent me, because it was going to take me way too long with the rabbit holes I was going
Yeah.
down, Xavier Becerra.
He
I
is my
like him
man.
too.
I have been pro Xavier Becerra for governor for a very, very long time. Since he announced his candidacy. Um So I think, is probably the most qualified of everybody in the
Yes.
field. And the thing I like about him is that he's been in politics for a long time and he's
Hmm.
been progressive for a very long time. He was running on a healthcare for all platform in the 90s.
Yeah.
So he has been walking the walk and talking the talk for a long time. And he has had experience at pretty much every level of government, which is the coolest thing about him. So
Yep.
he started as a deputy attorney general in California in the late 1980s. He then served as California State Assembly in the California State Assembly, from 1990 to 1992. After that, he was in Congress for 2 decades. And then he went into leadership. So he served as chair of the House Democratic Caucus. Then he came back to California and he served as attorney general. So he's been everywhere. And
Yeah.
more recently, he served in the Biden administration as
Hmm.
Secretary of Health and Human Services. So
Pause. Pause.
he
Pause. I did get to go down a rabbit hole with him, with Becerra. And when he was nominated for the Secretary of Health and Human Services, and I don't disagree with Republicans on this, right? They clutched their pearls because he has no healthcare background. So I don't disagree. I think that if you are going to be in any kind of healthcare leadership in the government, you need to have a healthcare background. And I'll give it to him. He's at least married to a doctor. So he's
Yes, he
like
is.
healthcare
Yeah.
adjacent. Whereas Brainworm, who MAGA fully fucking supports, is only healthcare adjacent because he has a brainworm, he eats dead animals, and he's probably been to the ER a time or 10
Oh
after
my
he
God. Yeah.
snorted too many drugs off the back of a fucking toilet. Like, that's, brainworm's only association. Or, TV Dr. Oz, who at least did go to med school, but was shit for brains as a doctor, so started pushing sham weight loss drugs. Like, That's my only knock with Becerra. Though I will say he stumbled when COVID happened, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
he's not a doctor, but he at least pushed
I mean, hey,
medical
he's a
people to
juris
the forefront,
doctor. So it depends. It depends on what kind of doctor.
right? Jesus fuck.
That's what I was laughing. I was like, if the airplane was crashing or something and they're like, is there a doctor on board? I'd be like, it depends, right?
I could
What kind of
fix a
doctor are you
lawsuit
looking
for
for?
you.
What kind of doctor are you looking for?
I mean, who do you
Do you need to know
want?
what personal jurisdiction is?
Who do you want to help someone that's dying?
I can
A
help you with the
podiatrist
lawsuit when this plane
or
crashes.
right? I think a lawyer is about as helpful as a podiatrist in a plane if someone's choking on food.
Probably the same level of help. Yeah.
Yeah. That was my only but
No, but at least he
with
is
Becerra.
married to a doctor, so he could probably
At
be
least.
like, hey, I can get help from my wife on some of these
Right.
things. And the only thing I will say is that he has worked his whole entire career on healthcare policy. So he
Yes.
does have some kind of uh experience there. So that's
Yeah.
probably why they nominated him, I would imagine, is because of all the
Yes.
work on healthcare reform and
And
policy.
he
Because it's
doesn't
really more of a service-oriented job. It's not
right.
like he's trying to be a doctor. So
Right.
all that probably was for was to work on the policy objectives.
And his pushes as Secretary of HHS, it's very clear that he's not pulling ideas out of his ass, like eat raw chicken,
No.
worm brain. I'm looking at you on that one. He doesn't pull these ideas out of his ass. You can tell his ideas are well thought through. And
Yeah. Well, he's been working on them for years, since the
well,
90s.
and it's based he has clearly consulted experts in their field. His wife
Mhm.
is a high-risk OBGYN. So when
Yep.
it comes to any kind of policy on women's healthcare, especially
He's
as it relates
very
to
pro-women.
reproduction,
He's very
very
pro-women.
and that's one of his campaign issues, one of the topics
Mhm.
is, abortion is a healthcare right. Abortion
Mhm.
is healthcare. It he's I will vote for him hands down. Swalwell
Yeah.
needs to drop out, throw
Yeah.
weight behind this guy. Porter
Well,
needs
and
to drop out, throw
the
weight.
greatest thing about this is that since all these allegations broke, the last 24 hours, the momentum behind Becerra has been incredible. My entire Threads feed is filled with Becerra for governor, and I am so
Yes.
excited about that. If one good thing, I'm not gonna say anything good will come from any of these allegations, right? I'm not
Right.
saying that, but if you have to pull one silver lining out of it, it's that this man's campaign has finally gained traction, because he did not have any traction before this. I think he had like 982 followers, and now he's got
Yeah.
thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands. And I'm so glad to see that, because he honestly, out of all these candidates from the start, I was behind him, and I felt like he really deserved this, because he's been in public service for such a long
Yep.
time. He is such a good candidate. He is so well qualified. And I thoroughly believe that the governor of California is his end goal. I do
Yep.
not think that he wants to use California as a stepping stone to run for president like
No.
all these other candidates do. I think this is what he wants. I think that he will do a great job for California. And I'm really hoping that everyone will rally behind him now, because he really is the most qualified candidate in the race.
Yeah, and looking through, his campaign website and some other stuff that I found on him, he holds that healthcare is a human right, and it
Yes.
absolutely is. As a lawyer, granted this was in Massachusetts, but way back in his early days when he first got his law license, he worked for legal aid. He was working
Mm-hmm.
legal aid, fighting for people with mental health issues. They're
Yes.
talking about somebody coming to California, and California does have a huge homeless population. You know, a lot of this population has mental health issues and they have drug addiction issues. And that's the cause of their being homeless. Who the fuck better to try and fix this than someone who, with a ton of law school debt, went to help these people?
Mm-hmm.
He didn't go to big law. He was, I want to say, like Stanford or Harvard Law or something. Maybe that was his undergrad. But he does have an Ivy League education. He could have gone into big law. He could have been pro corporate. He could have made millions as a lawyer before stepping into the political ring, but he didn't. He went and fought for the underdog's underdog.
He went to Stanford, by the way.
Is that where he went for law school?
Mhm. Yeah.
He absolutely could have gone to New York, done big law, and been a millionaire. This is a
Mhm.
guy who has put his money where his mouth is every step of the fucking way. You know, he, one of his focuses is closing racial and economic gaps in healthcare. Hello.
Mhm. Yeah.
You know, this is something
His
that we need.
healthcare platform is phenomenal. It's phenomenal.
Yes.
I mean, and I believe he wants to work on affordable housing as well. So
Yep.
I mean, he really has a
He
fantastic platform, a very
he holds
progressive platform.
he holds that housing is an essential infrastructure, which it
Mhm.
absolutely fucking is.
Yeah.
You know, it jumping comparing him and Katie Porter, she has talked about, we need to just build more houses. We need to make it more affordable to build more houses. If there's more houses in California, then the price is going to go down because the supply is going to increase to meet the demand.
Mhm.
Sure, Katie, who lives in Orange County, one of the more expensive
Yeah.
areas in California.
Yeah, yeah.
It, whereas we've got Becerra calling it essential infrastructure. To
Yeah.
me, he's absolutely recognizing that building more Section 8 apartments, while it puts people in housing, that's not the greatest. So to me, he understands that, yes, we need more apartments. We need more affordable houses. We need things that the lower income bracket can afford. Whereas Katie Porter, who sits in her Orange County home, just tells me that she's going to be like, okay, build more houses in Palos Verdes, build more
Yeah.
houses, in expensive ass areas of California that nobody can fucking afford.
I would almost argue that Becerra is more progressive than Katie.
Yes. Yes. I think my only worry with Becerra is that unless you are uber political like you, where I consider myself moderately political, I get loud about massive issues, right? When it comes down like you to the nitty gritty, I'm sure you probably know who's like running for comptroller. And you
No,
probably
I
know,
don't know that.
you probably at least know what the fuck a comptroller is because
I
I
do know
don't.
that. Yeah.
I don't know what that fucking is. I'm like, look, I don't know. Can a comptroller take away my rights? No. Can a comptroller take
No.
away a single mom's kids? I don't think so. We're going to ignore the comptroller. So, people like me that are moderately vested in politics don't know his name. So we need to get his name out there because he strikes me as relatively humble. He is a servant leader who is not going to say, look at all of the beautiful, wonderful things that I do, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
He's just not like that. He doesn't seem like a self promoter, which is bad in
No.
politics. You have to
Yeah, he
have
needs
some self promotion skill.
the thing that I've been shocked about is, like I said, he's gained so much traction since the Swalwell allegations broke, and he's not doing anything on social media. I like literally commented on one
Yes.
of his posts, and I was like, guys, come on, whoever is running your social media. I don't know if he even has a social media team. I was like,
He needs
please
one.
get out there. You guys need to get out there because this is the time now. You're trending. He's literally
Yes.
trending. I was like, he needs to get out there because this is the time to take advantage now. Like, people are really interested in him, and this is the time to take advantage of it. He is such a good
Yep.
candidate. I'm just gonna start blasting him everywhere because I
He
really want him to get in there.
he needs some professional hype people,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
And he needs to get out there and start speaking. He needs to go and start doing some rallies in LA,
Yes,
in San Fran, in all these places like San Diego. He's got to get
absolutely.
and start going.
Absolutely. Um, who? I jumped on my
So
list.
there's a couple other people left. So there's Antonio Villaraigosa. So
Mhm.
he used to be the mayor of LA. He's got a lot of deep roots here in California. He's got a lot of experience. He's got a little bit of name recognition. But I think that his moment is past. I think
Yes.
that I think he's run a lot. He's not gotten anywhere each time he's run. There's also Tony Thurmond. He's held statewide office. I think he still does. He's pretty policy focused on education only. He really hasn't done much else outside of education, and that's really what his platform is focused on. He's
Mhm.
not polling anywhere. I think he's at like 1%.
Yeah, he
Same
needs
with
to drop out.
Villaraigosa. They need to
Get out.
drop out. These guys need to drop out. There are the two Green Party candidates, socialist candidates, which are Ramsey Robinson, and he is running on a very left wing, very socialist platform. I love his platform, but they are not polling anywhere. I do not think these guys are going to get in the top two as much as I would love them to. They have good platforms. The one that is interesting, and the one that I do think is worth talking about a little bit, is Butch Ware. And not
Who?
because I think Butch Ware. So he's actually a very well known candidate, but I don't think he's worth talking about in the sense that he's going to get anywhere on the ballot. But he's worth talking about because of the big legal mess that's going on surrounding that. So he's a Green Party candidate, and he ran with Jill Stein as her VP when in the 2024 presidential race.
Okay.
He is a professor at UC Santa Barbara. He's a pretty fringe candidate. Like I said, they're not going to probably get on the ballot. He would have to be a write-in at this point. But he has a lot of national political experience, very grassroots campaign, zero. He will not accept any corporate or PAC funding. And that's kind of how he's always distinguished himself from any Democrats or corporate Democrats.
Mhm.
He's uber progressive. I would almost call him like an eco-socialist at this point. I mean, he
Okay.
supports statewide rent control. He supports obviously pro-choice, single-payer healthcare systems, all that stuff. He wants like major structural change, ranked choice voting, banning corporate lobbying, like all that stuff.
That's
Um,
and that's all fine and great,
yeah, it is. I love his platform. It's a great
but
platform, but uh,
when you've got
it's
the reaction that I just gave,
yeah,
it's
I know. You don't. No
I
one knows who he is. But so here is the thing. So he's suing the state of California right now, because they basically said like you can't be on the ballot. They removed him from the ballot.
why?
And there's a lot of, yeah, I'll tell you, it's called Ware versus Weber. There's a lot of controversy surrounding this. So in March 2026 is when this happened. They completely removed him from the primary ballot because the state said that he failed to properly comply with the requirements for the gubernatorial candidates, right?
Mhm.
So they're supposed to submit 5 years worth of tax returns. I guess he didn't do that, or he didn't do it properly, allegedly. I don't know which one of the two it was. So he sued to be reinstated. And he said first he submitted the required documents, the state saying that he really didn't, or that he applied wrong or something like that.
Okay.
And that the state was being arbitrary, I guess, in rejecting his documents. And he's arguing now that the law itself on this matter is completely unconstitutional. This is off the wall, right? This is off the wall. So he's arguing that the law is unconstitutional, and that the legislature does not have the authority whatsoever to add any additional qualifications for candidates beyond what's in the Constitution. So really interesting case, right? So the judge ultimately ruled like no dice, buddy, right? And they kept him off the ballot. Um, and the Secretary of State was completely valid in how they handled his application. So that was what happened there. But Butch Ware is still going on this campaign, right? He is mad on social media. I mean, he is mad. He is saying that it's discrimination, that they're trying to discriminate against Green Party and socialist candidates, that they're trying to discriminate against him because he is black and is and a Muslim, and all this other stuff. And it is just this big social media debate right now. So it's a really interesting thing to watch play out. I think it's interesting because his claim is basically that the ballot access requirements and the polling thresholds and the inclusion to the debate stage here is it, it functions as like a limit to who's considered a serious candidate before voters even get to vote, which um, is kind of interesting because you're kind of wondering, like, for me, I was left wondering, like, but buddy, all these candidates have to cross
Right.
the same
It
thresholds.
so I
Did you file your paperwork correctly? Like,
right. You know, but stop.
yeah,
Stop.
yeah, like the system is the system.
I
But it's a big
I
debate. It's a big social
I'm at a
media debate right now.
loss. I'm at a
Yeah,
fucking loss.
I know.
I now know who you're talking about, though.
Yeah.
When you mentioned the, you know, when you mentioned the exclusion of minorities, because I did hear a big uprising about an exclusion of minorities about a month ago as it relates to the USC debate, right?
Yep.
The USC debate, USC said that they had invited people that had like the highest polling numbers. They did have some, what seemed to me on an offhand skim of the article, it seemed weak. It seemed like a
Yeah.
weak argument from USC because only white people were going to be in the debate, right? Becerra wasn't there. This Butch guy wasn't there. Betty Yee didn't get invited because I didn't see Betty
Yep.
Yee on your list. Did she drop out and I don't know about this?
No, she's still in. I forgot to include her. That was my bad.
So for those that are wanting to
She's not
know,
polling. She's down at she's also at
no,
1% along with
she's at like
Villaraigosa
1%.
and Thurmond.
But
Yeah.
I had to giggle because I was just talking about this, right? You need to
Yeah.
have that name recognition. She is the former California controller.
Yes, she is.
And I had just said, who the fuck is that? What is that? Right? So apparently Betty Yee was that, whatever the fuck that is. She is another one with a grassroots campaign. She's, you know, talking about fiscal responsibility. I guess she had some experiencing identifying about $7 billion in improper spending in California. So she wants to make California more accountable, more efficient with taxpayer dollars, which I think that's fair because California takes a ton of money from me and it's not like I'm rich. She addresses the affordability crisis. She wants to tackle housing affordability. She wants to audit utility rate hikes, which I like. For
Yeah.
whatever reason,
I like Betty.
Yeah, Southern California Edison is always sending me all this stuff. You pay for this tier. You can choose to be on this tier. They're presenting me options as if they're legit options. I have no idea what the fuck it means.
I don't even want to talk about my electric bill.
No, when my daughter moved into her first apartment, she really was digging into this Edison shit. Right? She's like, Mom, do you understand what this tier is, what that tier is? I go, honey, I don't know. They put me on some tier. I just pay the bill. As long as I have power, okay.
Yeah.
You know? And she had talked to them, and the guy on the phone had explained that some solar energy power tier was supposed to be the most economical, this, and that. He really promoted this tier. So she was like, okay, cool, switch me to that then. Her bill was 2 or 3 times more expensive on that tier. So she called, and I have a temper, right? I will go after someone if I feel like it. You really have to catch me on a pit bull day for me to actually give 2 craps. She's a pit bull, you know? So she called them again And she chewed him out. She was like, your guy told me that this is the most economical. I am 21 years old. I managed to get an apartment in California. I need to make my budget. You lied. I think she like talked a whole bunch of money off of her bill. But I do like that she wants to audit utility rate hikes, because I don't know why my electric bill this last month was $235. I have a 960 square foot apartment. Why was my bill
Yeah.
some odd dollars? Why? She wants to promote a climate jobs plan. She's got some great stuff that she wants to do, but Betty Yee, honey, you're stealing Democrat votes.
Yeah.
You were a
These
controller.
people
Nobody
need to
knows what a
drop
controller
out.
does. You drop out, jump in with one or two solid Democrats. Jump in with them. And I feel like this is a reality show, right? Like we're watching Survivor and we're telling people you need to make ally relationships. Drop out of the race, make an ally relationship, get on their cabinet staff, whatever the hell it is that they
Mm-hmm.
have, and work together because you all have very similar goals, right? I see so much power if Becerra ends up winning this, right? Let's say the Democrat Party in California pulls their heads out of their rears. Becerra ends up winning this because I think he would stomp both of these MAGA morons. If he gets on social media, he gets his name out there. You've got to appeal to the younger voters, right? You can't just bank on the fact that Trump is crashing like a spectacular train crash in slow motion for us all to
Oh
watch
my
it.
God, he is.
You can't bank on that when it comes
Yeah.
to a state election, right?
No, yeah.
So he needs to get out there. He seems to, throughout his political career, have done really well by picking people that are smarter than him, that are more social than him, that are more of an extrovert than him, and giving them the lead where they will excel, right? He needs to do that here. Everybody's got to throw their weight behind Becerra, get him to win. And then he's got to pick these people that have some really great ideas
Yeah, I
and
agree.
give them the spotlight,
Mm-hmm.
So that's California. Let's talk about Swalwell.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I wish I didn't see that coming, but like I said, people are saying the timing is suspicious. I don't find it suspicious.
No.
I have, this has been being chattered about on social media since last November. So they have been working with media outlets for that long to get this story out there. So people are saying that it just happened. It did not. This is just when the story broke because it took that long to verify the allegations, right?
Yep.
They don't break stories as soon as they hear about them. These news organizations would be really, really, really irresponsible if they did that.
Right.
They have to talk to all the victims. They have to verify text messages. They have to verify video. They have to verify everything that they have before they run with a story. So it's been since November that they've been doing all of this. And
Right.
of course, I forgot the name, it's temporarily escaped my brain. People are saying he's connected with this, and that's how you know it's a setup. Oh, the name has escaped me. I can't believe that. Roger something, I think. Anyway, they're like, he knows about it. That's how you know it's a setup. I'm like, he knows about it because everyone on the Hill knows about it. Like, they know that this has been being chattered about for quite some time now. Like,
right.
Of course he knew this story was going to break. It's been with CNN since November.
Roger Stone.
Roger Stone, thank you.
Roger Stone.
So Roger Stone has known about this, of course, because it's been with news outlets since November.
Right.
They've been working to get this story broke since November.
So
I mean,
I am going to dress down a lot of Democrats that I have seen in Democratic Facebook groups. I've seen people's postings on social media about this.
I'm disgusted.
There was a man on a Facebook group. He's a gay man. right? So you're already part of the minority, bro. I don't give a shit that you're white and you're a man. You're a minority. You're married to another man. Nobody likes you. Republicans don't like you. He commented on someone's post about Swalwell when all this just hit social media, right? When it blew up. And he was like, none of this is verified. Why are we villainizing Swalwell? These are just people's allegations. Fuck you, you sick fuck.
Believe
Fuck
all
you.
women, that it needs to extend to both sides of the aisle. If you
Yep.
can get on Trump's ass about sexual assault allegations, you need to be able to take it from your own party. Just
Yep.
because it's a candidate that you like or you think has the best chance of winning, you cannot be a hypocrite. I was so angry the last 24 hours. I've been seeing people say crazy things on the internet about this.
Yep.
Like, I'm sorry, do you have a preferred rapist? Like,
Right.
I'm
And
sorry, like you
are
prefer
you
you prefer Swalwell to Trump?
right?
Do you see how nuts
It,
that
but you
sounds?
know what it is? So here's the thing. One, it's party loyalty, right? You're
Mm.
on either side, you're gonna have those less than intelligent Neanderthals that are going to have party
It's a lot of
loyalty.
women. It's a lot of women
But
supporting him
who's
too.
better
It's
looking?
not just men.
Who is better looking? Trump or Swalwell? And
I don't
that's what
understand
it
why
is.
a man being good looking has anything
Pretty
to do with you
preference.
supporting him.
It is pretty preference. There is no way a woman would willingly sleep with Trump. Ergo, if she says he raped her, he raped her. Nobody would willingly sleep with that.
A
But you look
lot
at
of
Swalwell, but
rape
you look
doesn't
at
have
Swalwell. No. This is what I'm saying. This is why they're having this confusion in their head, right? Yes, believe all women when it comes to Trump because he's not good looking. So what he says is a lie. Yes, he raped those women. When it comes to Swalwell, well, they could be lying. They could just want their 15 minutes of fame because he is good looking. They might just regret their decision now. And that's why you're seeing those disgusting statements. It's
I feel like
disgusting.
people don't understand that people that commit those kind of acts, it's not because they're good looking or they can't get women to have sex with them
No,
willingly.
it's
It's a
power.
control. It's
Yes,
control. That's the motivating factor behind men or women, I guess, that commit acts like that. That it is a control thing. It has nothing to do with you being able to go and get it willingly, right? That's not the thrill behind that kind of thing.
right.
So that just it's disgusting. But women need to realize that, like, carrying water for men like that and saying, "Oh, I don't believe the allegations," isn't going to do you any good, whether you're a Democrat or you're a Republican.
Nope.
So, I mean, the amount of rhetoric that I have seen from women and men who, it makes you more angry when you see it coming from the Democratic Party, I think,
Yes,
because the Republicans, you expect it from them. You already know that they support a rapist anyway, so who cares if you see them supporting it again, right? But when you
right,
see it coming from the Democratic Party, because these are supposed to be allies, right? These are people that are supposed to support women. These are people who say, believe all women. They probably have it in their fucking bio, right?
right. And
So
here they are not
and here
believing them.
they are saying, I believe all women, but
Right. And
come on. And if you don't believe this, go and look back at what Eric Swalwell said himself when Brett Kavanaugh's allegations broke. What did he say? Brett Kavanaugh is either the unluckiest man in the world, or when three or more women come forward, there's probably some truth to the allegations.
yep,
So if you don't believe it, take his word for it. That's
yep.
my advice.
It anybody whose knee-jerk reaction when they are told that a man has assaulted a woman this way, if your knee-jerk reaction is at all in the direction of that man, to protect him.
You need to check your bias at the
Yeah.
door and figure out what is wrong with you personally. And
Yes.
I get so heated about this topic. It makes me so angry, and I have spent the last 24 hours in just a state of fury seeing how people are handling this online. I mean, just an
Yep.
absolute state of fury. I think before we started this podcast, I told you this, but I saw a woman say something to me on the internet that said, her words were, we should not be charging anybody for rape or putting anybody in prison for rape until Trump is in prison for rape. And I literally said to her, did you literally just say that
Yeah.
nobody should be prosecuted for rape until Trump is? So you just want to give men carte blanche to rape women with impunity and give them no consequences? Like, do you guys hear yourselves? Like, you're saying this out loud, like on a public forum. You're nuts.
Yeah. I think I can understand the sentiment behind her idea, right? Like, hello, you've got a rapist in the White House and nobody's doing anything about it. Okay, I get that. But putting that on social media, ew.
And writing with your name attached to it? I mean, yeah. But and here's the thing, though. Like, yes, we have a rapist in the White House, but having him in the White House does not give you carte blanche to let every single other person slide, because what does letting all those other people slide do? It makes it easier for him and more people like him to continue to do the horrible things that they do. And it makes his allegations okay, or the things he's done okay. It makes the Epstein files okay. It makes more men that commit sexual assault against women okay.
Yep.
You have to prosecute people or give them consequences for their actions, because if you don't, it just makes it okay, both socially and for people in power. It just sends that message. So no, you can't let it slide just because someone else has done it. That's like me saying, oh, that person got away for stealing. I think I'm just going to go steal now. Come on.
I think a lot of it too is that people don't understand legally how allegations work. Right? So, first off, anytime there is a sexual assault allegation, right? Let's say, somebody 5 years ago filed an allegation against Swalwell. These women now, in any preceding court case, under federal rules of evidence, under California state's rules of evidence, those women's lawyers will be able to pull that allegation and use it as propensity in this case. And for those that don't understand, propensity means that you did it then, so you probably did it now. That is propensity. And propensity is very limited in evidence law. It is so freaking narrow because the law does acknowledge that just because you were bad 5, 10, 15 years ago, you could be good today, right? You could have improved. You got to be a better person. So there are very
But sexual assault crimes is not the same, though.
No. When it comes to a sexual assault, any allegation, if you were sued civilly, can be used civilly or criminally. If you were sued civilly and they lost, that suit can still be used for propensity today. Your defense lawyer can't say, yeah, but they lost that one. Who cares? The allegations were brought. The testimony was given, right? So they want to talk about, well, this was so many years ago, and then women start coming out of the woodwork, blah, 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 blah. Take it up with the federal rules of evidence. Court rule says that you can use it, right? The other things that make me mad are, well, this happened, one of the women, she said that she was assaulted in 2019 and then again in 2024. So they want to say, well, you can't talk about what happened in 2019 because that was so long ago. And then it supposedly happened again. Why did you stay there? There again, federal rules of
Does
evidence.
nobody understand either how people behave after traumatic situations?
No.
That's actually pretty typical that people would go back to an abuser.
And the fact that they bring it up now, because we saw it happen with Trump, right? In 2016, people started coming out of the woodwork talking about the assaults that he perpetuated against them, right? And then it happened again in 2024. And people are saying, oh, well, it's only coming up when something serious is on the line, so they just want 15 minutes of fame. No. They are managing
It's
to break
also
through.
pretty typical that people
Yes,
will
they are
do that
managing
because
to
they
break
don't want to see
through.
that person have a position
No,
of power.
they're
It's
breaking through their trauma when they realize
yes.
that this person that
Something's on the
inflicted so
line.
much trauma against them is now going to be able to do it on a massive scale against people.
And there's strength
So,
in numbers too. When they
yes,
realize one person comes out, there's gonna be more that come out. This is very
yes,
typical psychology that I don't understand how people don't understand it.
right.
Like it's
And I like that CNN is hammering the concurrent text messages that were sent by one of the women, right? Because again, in federal rules of evidence, if you, Lela, punch me in the face today, April 12th, and right after you punch me in the face, I text my wife and say, oh my God, Lela just punched me in the face. My lip is swollen. And then I go to the cops 3 months later and say, 3 months ago, Lela punched me in the face. Here's the text message. The DA will look at that text message, and that text message is permissible in court
mhm,
to give validity and credibility to the fact that you punched me in the face based on what's called a present state of mind,
mhm.
right?
Yep.
The fact that I said it when it happened, how it made me feel, what the situation was, is permissible months, weeks, days, years later in court, because that was like my bookmark in
Mhm.
history. This happened right now. Here's how I feel. I went to the doctor. They did blah, 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 blah. Right? It's a present state of mind exception, and it can be used to back you up. So I love that CNN is really kind of hammering that and putting that out there. I wish somebody would clarify why, right?
Yeah.
Because the general public that doesn't understand what the significance of the timing of those texts does to back up a court case, right? If you don't understand that, they're like, oh, so it was cleverly planned,
No, it goes to state of
right?
mind for sure.
Right. But that's what the general public is saying. You know, her and this Stone guy, they got together and he's like, okay, text your buddy this because we're going to say that. No, it goes to show what was happening in that exact moment. You know, his, did you see Swalwell's video?
He's pulled it down since, but I saw it when it first got posted and I was disgusted by it. I mean, like he's like, you need to hear from me, and I was like, buddy, nobody wants to hear from you. I
No
mean,
one wants to hear from you.
nobody wants to see your face. Trust me, nobody wants to. I don't know who advised him to make that video, but absolutely,
It,
my stomach dropped to my like heart dropped to my stomach when I saw his face on my feed. Honestly, I had like a visceral reaction to it.
yeah,
I I've never liked him from the start. He always gave me bad vibes. I mean, and this, I don't know. The whole thing makes me so sick.
it, I
The
wanted,
denial of the allegations when,
yeah,
and calling, here's my question. He's saying they're anonymous
they're
allegations.
not anonymous.
How can, but here's the thing. How are they anonymous when he was able to send these anonymous women cease and desist
Right.
letters at 12:05 a.m.? How anonymous are they? They're so anonymous that he knew exactly who each and every woman was?
Yep.
Please.
It,
Please.
I love that Ali Samarco's husband jumped onto social
Yes.
media and ripped him a
Yes.
new one. She's not
Yes.
anonymous. She is my wife. This is her name. She gave her name to CNN. Her name is in the articles. I
Yeah.
loved that. I
Yeah.
absolutely loved
And
that.
they're very well-known Democratic influencers, and she's well known on the Hill as a staffer. There's no way that that these people are lying to get
Right.
money. Come
Right.
on. I mean, this is just, people want to say this stuff because they don't like that their favorite candidate is
Right.
now probably going to have to drop out. I mean, the difference that I will say, the difference between us and them, I mean, obviously the people supporting him are going to support him obviously through and through, but
Right.
every single person that had endorsed him has pulled their endorsement, which is, something you're not going
Yes.
to see from the Republican Party. Um, AG Rob Bonta came out this morning and made a statement urging him to drop out. I mean, this is good, and I hope he does take their advice. I'm glad he pulled his smarmy video down, and
I
I hope his next step is that he drops out of this race.
I I hope that this Buck candidate, what's his name again?
Butch Ware? Talking about Butch?
Butch. There we go.
Yeah.
Butch Ware. I not that he's ever going to hear this urging, right? I would urge Butch Ware to take his grassroots knowledge and what's happening with Swalwell. If you really want to make changes, Butch, put something on the ballot for California so that California legislatures or whoever the fuck is specially in charge of California elections, when something like this, what's going on with Swalwell happens, that has good, beefy evidence to it, right? The Manhattan DA jumped. As soon as they heard this, they jumped and they started digging
Mm-hmm.
into it and investigating. When you see these wheels moving, the state needs to have the power to boot you off the ballot. You're done. Bye. If
Yeah.
that many people want to write you in, they can write you in. And if they want to override what we're doing as a state, removing a criminal from the ballot, sure, let them do it. Right? But this way, it kind of saves people from having to beg and plead for you to tuck your tail and get off the fucking ballot.
Yeah. Yeah. He needs to get off the ballot. I mean,
Now,
Via
you need to
Ragosa
get off
needs to
the
get
ballot now.
all these fringe Dems need to get off the ballot now. They all need to go. And we need to keep the ones that are on there that are polling well and make sure
Yeah,
that someone rallies behind a top candidate or the top two and get everyone else off. I mean, that's just what
yeah.
has to happen.
I don't think that we would be in danger if, Porter and Becerra stayed on. I
Yeah.
don't think that they would split the vote that bad.
No, I don't think so
I think
either.
that we
But
would see his name, is it Becerra? Xavier
yeah,
Becerra?
Xavier
Yes.
Becerra. Yep.
Okay. I think that we would see him pulling votes from Katie, which is fine by me.
Probably. Yeah. And I think 2 Republicans, 2 Democrats would be normal, but we cannot
Yes.
have these fucking 10 other candidates on
No,
the ballot. This is nuts.
no. I said it. I think I said it last week because Chris and I had really briefly touched on this. Um, I I feel like all of these Democrats, it's almost a power grab, you know? Via Bragosa, bro, I haven't heard your name in forever. You've got
Yeah.
Bass who
And there's
backs
that
you.
Matt
Everybody's
Mahan
pissed.
too.
Who
Matt
the fuck is
Mahan.
he?
Oh, Matt Mahan. He's the mayor of San Jose right now. He is a tech bro.
I did
He's
see
running
him.
as a moderate Dem, which means he's really like a fucking Republican.
It means you're
So
pro-corporate, pro-AI,
yeah.
pro-destroy California coastline,
That's
all
exactly
that
what he
bullshit.
is. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's exactly what he is. So, I mean, he needs to get off the ballot too. I mean, I put him and Steyer almost in the same category, even though
yes,
Steyer's policies are clearly more progressive. I don't trust him as much as I don't trust Matt Mahan.
right.
I mean, they both need to get off the ballot. I know Steyer's polling well, but I think it's because people really haven't done their research and they don't have discernment.
It
But that's just my personal opinion.
When
But
I Googled Steyer, because he's the billionaire guy, when
yeah.
I Googled Steyer, the thing that I kept seeing over and over and over and over was, I'm a billionaire and I am pro that billionaire tax. I am pro that billionaire tax. What people are missing is reading the rest of the article where he says, I am
Mhm.
pro that billionaire tax if it gets on the ballot.
Yeah.
So he's not pro that billionaire tax. Voting him in as governor is not going to see him leading the charge and without being forced, giving California millions of dollars. He's not going to independently tax himself and donate that money to the state of California. He's not going to do it unless it somehow magically makes it on the ballot and Californians vote for that tax. You know, he's not even going to try and put it through legislature himself. He is going to wait for us to put it on the ballot.
Yeah.
So don't be fooled thinking that he's a billionaire Zohran Mamdani.
There's no such thing. There's no such thing. Like we said earlier, you get to be a billionaire by being a certain kind of way. Don't trust him. Like, come on, guys, use your discernment.
All right, guys, that is our California breakdown. What I say was going to take us 90 minutes. It took us 90.
Yeah, it took us 90 minutes.
So here's the deal. If you're in California, one, if you are at all still backing Swalwell, honestly look at yourself in the mirror, and if you would happily explain the situation to your grandma, then you and your grandma have some moral issues. If you look in the mirror and you cannot say that you would happily explain this situation to your grandmother and still expect her to hug you and kiss you when you come and see her or give you that favorite treat that she did when you were little, it's because your morals are wrong on this. Swalwell needs to go. And that needs to be pushed really hard on your social media. I know I'm going to push it hard on mine. Everybody needs to call for Swalwell to drop out. You are disgraced. We are done. The Democrat Party does not play around with abusers of any sort. Get off the ticket. Go away. You know, go fix your marriage with your wife. Go do some jail time. That's all I got to say on that one. Any closing messages, Lela?
Nope. I think you covered it. I think you covered it. Vote Xavier Becerra, or at least research his platform.
Yes.
That's my closing message.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today on Political Malpractice. And that was California for you. If you're not from California, thank you for listening. Have a good one, guys, and be safe.
If you want a second opinion or just something to rage about, hit that button and subscribe. This has been Political Malpractice.